All right, here we are. Coach Little, head assistant coach at Brown University. Major transition going on right now. The timing is crucial for the program, and you're still here. You're still around. You've got your assistants around at Brown. Talk to us about what's happening and the role that you're playing right now.
Okay, so as you mentioned, as most of the people in the country know, there is a transition taking place. Coach Beckerman stepped down as the head coach, and he's taking an administrative role, utilizing his master's degree and things like that. Just looking for different opportunities. He wants to spend more time with his family and things like that. So Brown University, myself, the other assistants, anybody associated with the program, we thank Coach Beckerman for everything he's done. He gave me the opportunity to be here, so I really, really do appreciate him for that. But as far as everything else, the program's still selling. We're still going straight ahead. The recruiting is still taking place. The workouts are still taking place. Everything's still going. If not, everything's picked up even more. The guys feel as though they have a chip on their shoulder and a point to prove, so we're really excited for the future.
So just to be clear, as of right now, you haven't been named coach. It's up. It's still kind of open. They're going to be looking for coach.
Correct.
You're definitely in the running, if not the front runner for the job, right?
It's I don't want to throw myself under the bus or, pat myself on the back, but I will be applying for the head coach position. Whether I'm in the running, depends on my resume. I think I really do have a very, very strong resume, from the years I spent at Lehigh, the years I spent at Gardner-Webb, winning the conference championship at those two places. So I still think I do have a very, very strong chance of being a front runner, but at the end of the day, it's up to administration who they feel is the best to lead the program. So.
I'm sure you from the outside, you're wanting it to look like there's no hiccups, right? You said everything's moving forward, full steam ahead. You still come to work every day. You still got the office here. What kind of challenges are you seeing in this interim period?
Actually, I'm not really seeing any challenges. I was prepared for this. I will say, Todd, helped me out. He delegated a lot of things to me, so I don't really see any challenges. If anything, I welcome the challenges. The recruiting's still there. We just had, and the last 2 weeks since the announcement, we've had 4 top 100 recruits on campus. I don't want to reveal their names and things like that, but everything's still smooth sailing. We just had a young man, Timmy Levine, qualify for the World Team Trials. So like I said, there's no hiccups at all. Brown wrestling is still smoothly sailing. So.
And we mentioned off camera, you're going to be traveling. You're going to Corvallis, you're going to Coralville, right? You're going to Iowa, and moving on from there. So off season is full steam ahead here at Brown.
Yep. Everything's I still have access to the budget. The administration downstairs said, hey, we're looking for you for leadership. Do what you got to do. Make the guys, still feel welcomed here. Make them still, this is their place. Make this a smooth transition. We'll go from there. Like I said, Timmy Levine will be wrestling the World Team Trials. We're leaving on Thursday or Friday. Still ironing out some of the details since it was, so close. He just won the last chance in Atlantic City. So we're going from there. Like I said, when we get back, take a week off and then back to training.
Okay, so let's talk about the product here, Brown. Okay. Brown Wrestling, right? As you known it, how you have known it, and maybe some difference that you'll put on the program if and when you get that head coaching position. What do you want in this room here?
If I do get the position, like I said, that's up to the Lord and what He has for me. And I'm just gonna follow myself and keep doing what I do. But one of the biggest things I want to definitely improve on is, we definitely need to pick up the recruiting. We need to pick up alumni engagement. We need to pick up community involvement. We just need just a typical new branding altogether. As you see, look at the last year results. The Ivies are taking off. They're not just schools where you go for academia.
Right.
Princeton had 2 finalists.
Mm-hmm.
Columbia had a great season.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone had a great season. So it's proven that you can win at these places. You just got to have the right leadership, and you got to have the right recruits, and then you get those 2 recipes. I mean, let's be honest. We weren't winning, and yet the alumni were still, generously giving to us. So imagine when we give them something to win. So the focus is definitely the product, which is the student athlete.
Yep.
So I'm looking to, diversify recruiting a little bit more, bring in a certain type of student, that have the intangibles, to quickly take that next step. As you know, the Ivies, we're not allowed to redshirt, so it's sort of a hindrance. We can gray shirt, but that's a whole different process. So we're at a disadvantage in some spots, but that's just all about how you perceive it, though. So.
Right. Okay. So I'm from Central Ohio. The first time I ever even heard about Brown wrestling was a guy named Austin Farr from Marysville High School comes to Brown wrestling, wrestles here. He's now back at his alma mater helping coach that awesome program in Central Ohio. And I thought to myself, I didn't even know there was a program here. Fast forward, we got another guy from Ohio, Blake Satos from Central Ohio. He went to Perrysburg High School, but grew up in Central Ohio. And now you've got a third Ohioan that's coming here, right? Antoine Burns?
Correct.
Okay. So obviously, I'm just a wrestling fan, a wrestling dad. I didn't know about it. That means there's other people out there that don't know about Brown wrestling. But you've mentioned some others, Cornell,
Yep.
that have done things a different way maybe.
Right.
What is it going to take for Brown wrestling to get on the map as far as recruiting goes, maybe just general knowledge for the average wrestling fan?
I say for us to catch up with Cornell and, just not even the pinpoint Cornell, because honestly, Cornell's done a great job over there, have a great tradition, high academics, but let's be honest, the juggernaut is Penn State. That's who everybody's shooting for.
Okay.
So we're not shooting for Cornell. We shoot for the best.
Right.
And so one of the things we have to do, like I said, recruiting is huge here. At the end of the day, you have to get, the most talented, you have to get the most hardworking, you just got to get intangibles that you just can't get from anywhere else. But the beauty of wrestling is it's something for everybody. There's always a way to win. So we definitely have to focus on, like I said, the product is the student athlete. We definitely need to do a rebranding. Like I said, the fact that people don't know Brown has wrestling is a problem. There's only 80 plus teams out there, and if you're really a fan of wrestling, most people know who have programs and who don't. So I think the rebranding is honestly might be the second most important thing. Recruiting, rebranding, and then what takes place in this room is number 3. We work hard and things like that, but there's definitely some improvements that can come, in the room from, certain situations. I don't want to be too candid and things like that, but there are the 3 big things that I want to focus on is, the recruiting, the branding, and improving the workouts.
All right, let's dive into the leadership style. How do you rate yourself as a leader? What do you bring to the student athletes that's going to be right here in this mat?
So that's a great question. I do have a military background. I served for X amount of years. I was in the National Guard, the PA Guard, Virginia Guard, and the North Carolina Guard, just because I moved a little bit because of my wrestling career. So I definitely have a unique leadership style that may be different from other people. I believe in structure, organization. Timeliness is huge for me. But I also believe in, not having my athletes do something that I wouldn't do with them. I'm still pretty young. I still can scrap with my guys and things like that. I even made a bet with them, if y'all did this and this, I would, wrestle in the U.S. Open.
Nice,
So
nice.
it was like,
yeah.
One end I was like, yes, they did.
Yeah.
I was like, I did want to compete again.
Right, I love that, man. We saw that play out,
Yeah. Shout out to Kendrick. That was awesome, kid.
It was awesome, yeah.
So I did, it's just that I'm not going to have my student athletes do something that I wouldn't do. I do believe in a relationship amongst the coaches outside of the room, So you shouldn't just go to a place where, the only time you're going to get that leadership, that mentorship is in the wrestling room. You want to have a relationship with your coach that extends beyond the wrestling room. I talk to my college coach once or twice a week, He's like almost a father figure for me. I talk to him about anything from grad school to the transition that's happening here, just to life, and I want to offer that as well to my students, my student athletes, because I believe coaching is far more than just yelling, sitting in a corner and bringing in recruits. These parents, send you their child for 4 to 5 years, so there are certain roles that come with the sport that you have to take on. If you're just playing that typical, stereotypical coaching position, you're doing a disservice to yourself in the sport of wrestling.
Yeah, and you have the credentials, the success. Your assistants have the credentials and the success. Is that important to the experience in this room?
Totally. I'm not saying that you have to be, 4-time, national champion and all these other things to have a successful coaching career. I mean, we can probably name plenty of people that's had hell of a careers, but just don't have the personality or the connectability to relate to student athletes, and vice versa. Some people didn't have the career that they wanted and have one of the top programs. Right. So it's just all about how you can relate to the student and get the best out of them. Could you repeat your question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, do you draw on those experiences?
Definitely.
Do you draw on the experience that you had at the national tournament?
Right.
And even if it's just not vocal and it's out there, but it's in the back of your mind as you're wrestling, as you're mentoring, as you're, bringing your wrestlers along,
Right.
is that important?
Definitely. I mean, just in life in general, you draw on your experiences. It's not too often where people give advice or lead a certain way where they're just talking out of thin air. My experiences was I was 3-time qualifier. I was an All-American, placed multiple times at the U.S. Open, had the opportunity to wrestle overseas a couple times. That's my experience. Coach Jesse Delgado, 2-time national champion, 3-time All-American. Coach T.J. Dudley, 3-time All-American, national finalist, who's currently also competing this weekend for the World Team Trial. So I'll be sitting in his corner as well.
Okay.
And then from a coaching perspective, TJ and Jesse are fairly green. Jesse spent some time as a volunteer coach at the University of Illinois. This is TJ's first stint, so when it comes to the coaching, I got some years on them. Even though I may be older, they've probably been wrestling longer than I have. I started when I was in high school versus, Jesse and TJ started a lot younger.
Yep.
And I just think that we can draw on each other to help, better this program. I had the pleasure of coaching Darrius on Saturday night.
Nice.
At the NCAA championship. I've sat in the All-American corners of, Jordan Cutler, Scotty Parker, Mason Beckman, just a host of guys, even at Gardner-Webb, a program that is typically, overshadowed. I had the pleasure of working with NCAA qualifiers, Boyce Cornwell, Ryan Gambles, Austin Trott, Ryan Mosley, Chris Vassar, so I have a wealth of experience, dealing with programs who may not receive the same type of resources as other programs, So I think drawing on those resources and those experiences give me, a unique outlook at the sport. So.
Okay, switch gears on you here. Wrestling moms. Talk to the wrestling mom and give her, you mentioned she's going to send you her wrestler for 4 years. Talk to her and tell her what her son is going to experience here at Brown.
Well, one thing your son's going to experience is unconditional love. You can ask one of my Lehigh student athletes. He had an allergic reaction at 3-4 in the morning. The other coaches were already recruiting, and as soon as I heard about it, I was there. First thing, spending a day in the hospital. Then had to wake up, not even wake up, I spent basically the whole day, the whole night, AM, in the hospital, and went straight to the East Stroudsburg Open right after that.
Okay.
Like I said, my thing is I want to extend coaching outside of just the wrestling room. I invite my guys over to my house, whether, we're watching a movie, we go to the pool. I'm real big on team cohesion, I feel as though if there's a great relationship amongst each other, you'll get the best out of the students, and that's what you're gonna get with me. I'm always gonna be there for your child, just like I expect, for you to be too. I'm gonna be mom and dad away from home, and anything that they need, I'm a phone call away. And the only reason I won't answer the phone is I'm in the shower from sleeping. Hell, sometimes I answer the phone in the shower if it's important enough,
Or if you get a flat tire.
This is true. Yeah.
Okay, so academia. This is an Ivy League school. That scares a guy like me that had 2 freshman years at Ohio State. What is academia like here, and what kind of support will a student athlete get here at Brown?
First thing I want to attack this this myth, this notion that because it's an Ivy League school that you can't succeed. We want the kids that's not only going to challenge themselves in the wrestling room, it's going to challenge themselves in the classroom. I've literally had recruits, hey coach, I really like Brown, I like this, but I'm a little bit intimidated by, just the fact that it's Ivy League school. I promise you, if you go to any school in engineering, you go to any school in computer science, you're going to be challenged regardless, because that's just what the curriculum is. It's
right.
It's a challenging curriculum, and not just, not saying there are not other ones, but those are the first 2 that came to mind.
Right.
So the notion that because it's an Ivy League school, you have to be intimidated by it, get that out of your mind.
Right.
Get that out of mind. Like I said, if anything, you should be excited to meet those challenges. If you do it in the wrestling room, do it outside in the classroom as well. So as far as support, we have a young lady here named Vicki Flowers. She's amazing. She's over the academic resources, provides tutoring, just anything you can imagine. I mean, like I said, we are an Ivy League school, so academia is very, very important here. So almost any resource that you can think of will be provided. All we just ask for is open communication. If you're struggling with a class, let us know. We'll get right on it, like I said.
Okay. obviously an odd time to have me in. So I want to thank you for having me in. Man, it's good to meet people like you in this sport. That's why I do what I do. But your passion for the sport has obviously put you in a place to where you could possibly be the third African American coach and the first at an Ivy League school, right?
For wrestling.
So for wrestling, and I'm a big fan of you now, just for that, you know, just in meeting you. So thanks for having me. What else do you have for me?
Like I said, I appreciate you for coming in. I want to, give a shout out to my assistants, Coach Jesse Delgado and TJ Dudley. They've been with me the last 2 weeks as this transpired. Just encouraging me. Hey, Darrius, keep your head up. We support you 100%. Yeah, I want to reach out to Coach Beckerman as well. He's been on the phone call with me multiple times. I want to thank the administration for being, transparent and letting us know what's going on, how we're, stepping forward. Like I said, so if you're looking at schools, especially if you want to be challenged on the wrestling mat and in the classroom, you should definitely take a look at Brown University.
Email's still working. They can get through to you. I got through to you. So, I mean, everything's still full steam ahead at Brown.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.